LOS40.
And if we think about that from our human experience, what is our identity? How do we process that?
From the very beginning of working on the show, we thought about who might be in this era of Middle-earth's history. And Tom Bombadil has no beginning and no end, seemingly. So we always knew he was out there. And from very early on, we wanted him to pop up in hopefully the most unexpected place possible. Tom can come off as a little bit whimsical and light, and he sings and he talks in rhymes and he hops down the trail, but he also has incredible reserves of wisdom, and he has knowledge, and he says, I remember the first acorn and the first raindrop. And so we really wanted him to be a sage voice, a voice of wisdom in the world, and kind of started from there. And we built outward. We pulled a lot of the dialogue that Tom uses when he appears in the show from the book itself. And we're just too lucky to be able to take advantage of it.
For me, Daniel, I knew the importance of Tom Bombadil, absolutely. I thought that he presented the stranger with a really exciting new sphere to explore. I like to think that coming into that relationship, really all his experience had been relatively small, certainly in terms of Middle Earth. He'd only been present in one area of the map, as it were. He'd only met one real community. He'd really only befriended 2 or 3 or 4 very, very specific individuals. And so his sphere of understanding, whilst being very important, was very limited. And as he meets Tom Bombadil, he's suddenly brought crashing into this new experience where not only is Tom Bombadil present throughout Middle-earth almost simultaneously, but also he's existed through the universe, an even bigger sphere, and then also through time, backwards and forwards at the same time, upwards, downwards. And so what that does for the stranger, I think, is really disconcerting. It's destabilizing. It knocks him off his course. He suddenly doesn't, it's like he's in quicksand. He's almost off balance, and he's having to catch up. He's having to really try to understand, to learn new things. And Tom, one of the things Tom likes doing is not making it easy. He loves to change the goalposts, move the story, ask different questions, befuddle, and the stranger is going to have to work very hard to keep up to speed, and also choose and understand how his choices inform this very close, tight community, the Harfoots community that he's loved from season 1, and this new idea about Middle-earth and what might be happening as the darkness rises through Middle-earth. I think what I love about the start of your question is that you quite rightly say he's looking for his true identity. And if we think about that from our human experience, what is our identity? How do we process that? And it's, I think, ultimately what I'm realizing, as I get to my middle age, is that it's less about what I put on, and it's more about what I have sort of inside, what I let out, and the values that I choose and the beliefs that I hold really strongly inside. I was watched Inside Out 1 and 2, the films recently, and I was struck by, there's a lot of sort of the stranger's journey is sort of explainable through those sort of interactions. There's sort of deep personal interactions. What are the core beliefs of the stranger? How does he find those? I think the following of the stars is one of those really core things. He links that to a feeling. He doesn't have much experience of it, much actual experience, but he's got a sense that he's got to follow the stars. Not just, oh, they're there, I've got to go there, but the stars have some resonance to him. They make him feel secure, or they allow him to be in a place where he can effectively do things that are for the good of, in this case, Middle-earth. And so seeking our true identity is something that I think, first of all, we can all resonate with, but secondly, in terms of the stranger's journey, it's continuing. He hasn't cracked the code. He hasn't got all the answers. He thinks he's done quite a lot of it by the end of season 1, but very quickly in season 2, he begins to realize that there's a whole lot of other stuff out there, and he's got no answer to most of it. I love the fact that he's got a relationship with Nori and with Poppy and the Harfoots that I feel has really given him the scaffolding, the sort of base scaffolding. He's learnt about friendship, he's learnt about truth, he's learnt about honesty, he's learnt about courage, watching the way Nori stands up for him and to her community. He's learnt so much experientially from her. And hopefully what I tried to do in season 2 as he begins to speak, or he refines dialogue, language, is not lose touch of that that really core understanding first and foremost. So it hits him in his, it sort of hits him in his stomach first, and the language flows second. I tried not to get too much into the brain, and speaking from the brain. I tried to let him still get hit and things land where they landed in season 1 for him, and let that come out through this newfound language.
Suscríbete y entérate de todo.